off, I want to start with Eddie Murphy. He's the star of the film, and you guys have worked together in the past. I'd love to know why you decided it was time to work on a Christmas movie and why now was the right time to do it.
Well, I've always loved Christmas movies. I love Christmas. And same with Eddie. He's a big fan of Christmas and always wanted to do a Christmas movie as well. So when we found a script that we both loved, it was kind of a no-brainer. We have been looking for an opportunity to work together again and happy that we finally found the right project.
Something very unique about this film is that there are great animated moments throughout the live action movie. I'm curious how you were able to balance those in making this movie.
Well, I was very excited to do that because I hadn't done that before. And it was a lot of fun. And, we ended up inventing some new technology to make it easier for the actors so they could still improvise and have fun like you would if actors were actually there. But I definitely loved playing in that kind of mix of live. I've done animation before, but I hadn't done animation mixed with live action. But now that I've done it, this is it.
There's a great cast here, from Eddie Murphy to Pentatonix to Tracy Ellis Ross, Chris Redd. So I'm curious how this cast came together.
Right. Well, Eddie Murphy was already attached to the script. So I was like, well, the hard part's over. And the great thing about Eddie Murphy is that actors love working with Eddie Murphy. They've always dreamed of working with Eddie Murphy. So that's how you get people like Nick Offerman and Tracy Ellis Ross and Robin Thede and Chris Redd and everyone. Once I read the scene where, there's going to be reoccurring people singing Christmas carols, I said, well, that's got to be Pentatonix. There's no other choice. So I was obsessed with making sure that Pentatonix were in the movie.
The Christmas genre is very vast. Hallmark tends to dominate in the rom-com area or just romance in general. And there are those cult classics that people rewatch every year. So I'm curious how you're breaking out of the typical Christmas movie genre with this film.
Well, when we watch a Christmas movie, there's certain things you expect. You want great Christmas music. You want great Christmas decorations. And you really want to be touched emotionally. So first and foremost, I want to make sure we delivered all those things you expect from a Christmas movie. And then I want to add things you don't normally get. So let's have a car chase. Let's have a kung fu fight. Let's mix it up a little bit. So I think we have a movie that you've never seen anything like it, but it's still going to satisfy all your Christmas desires.
What really stuck out to me in this movie is that it kind of has it all. There's action, comedy, heartfelt family moments, and obviously the holiday joy. So I'm curious, when writing this film, what resonated with you the most and what pieces were the most fun to write?
Oh, that's a really great question. Obviously, the script was a lot of fun to write because at least for a period of time, there was no limit on the imagination. So I had a lot of fun imagining, how can I make this as big as possible? I wanted, Dickensian figurines to come to life. I wanted, attacks by birds. I wanted magical creatures to come to life. I wanted a Christmas tree that would, blow the minds of everybody in the neighborhood. So I had a lot of fun imagining all of the big supernatural things. But I think, what I love about your question is, to me, the more heartfelt moments were the grounded ones in the family. I really wanted this character to be an everyman. I wanted them to be in every family so that every family could enjoy them and relate to them. I think I had fun being quite honest that, the holidays also involve a lot of chaos and some tension and some stress. And so I also really connected with those personal moments with the family as well.
Definitely. Something that stuck out to me a lot in this movie is that it's set in California. Most Christmas films are set in those colder climates with snow falling down. So I'm curious why you chose to set this film in California and how that affected your writing.
That's great. Well, so I am a Southern California native. My grandfather was a firefighter here. My dad was a truck driver. So I grew up with sand, not snow. But we still celebrate the holidays, obviously. So to me, I agree with you. So many Christmas movies are set in those bucolic locations with cabins with icicles and snow and things. And when I was a kid, we would take our boogie boards to the beach and we would ride the sand dunes and pretend that they were sleighs. So I always wanted to set a movie in an unusual location for Christmas. So that's why it was so fun to set it in this town of El Segundo where, my parents have lived for many years. My wife was born and raised there. And I just thought it'd be really fun to show this location that hasn't been seen before.
Now, you mentioned inspiration from your family was a huge piece of this movie. So I'm curious, are there any specific memories or traditions that you used as inspiration for this film?
Yes. So the main one is honestly Candy Cane Lane. So my parents' house is at the top of the road that leads to the cul-de-sac for Candy Cane Lane. Every year, this is our tradition. My mother would make a hot cocoa station. My dad would do all of the cooking and baking. He over-decorated his house and the front yard. And we put the kids in strollers. We get the gang going. We sing Christmas carols. We put lights on. And again, it's Southern California, but we have stocking caps. We have scarves. It's too warm to be wearing these things, but we really commit to the bit. And we all parade down the street and we go enjoy the lights of Candy Cane Lane. So that it truly is a tradition in our family and in our neighborhood.
For a Christmas movie, you kind of have a lot of freedom to play around with different sets and decor. So I'm curious, what was your inspiration when designing this film?
Inspiration for this movie was I really had hoped to just get kind of a timeless Christmas aspect to it. Like the best ones pull you, it doesn't matter what time period it is because it's Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So there are elements, and honestly, I'm kind of an Easter egg person. So I would drop, like, if you look inside Kringles, there's a nod to the inkwell in Laurel and Hardy's Babes in Toyland. Like, I would put like little elements throughout the Kringle shop really paid homage. The 60s font lettering for all the Kringles displays. And we just pulled from that was taken from like 60s department stores and a little bit of everywhere.
Something I found very different about this movie is that it is set in California, not typical of your Christmas holiday movie. I'm curious of how you were able to use California as inspiration in this movie.
Well, I kind of feel like that opening shot with that snowman in the sand, we were like, okay, let's just get this out of the way right up front. And I think a lot of the way the Candy Cane Lane homes are themed also really do homage to Los Angeles. We have the LAX house. We have the surfing Santa house. There was a lot of like Cali love.
Mm-hmm. There are really two big holiday sets. There's outdoor Candy Cane Lane, all of the houses with that California inspiration, like you said. And then there's Kringle's Christmas Shop, which really leans into the more traditional look of Christmas decor. So I'm curious how you were able to play around with both of those sets and make them feel very different, but equally as festive.
Well, I would say that I'm totally spoiled on this movie in that, I got to play around everywhere. Like every minute of what you see on the screen was designed and built, and they gave me prep on this movie to work with Reggie, who's an incredible collaborator. Mm-hmm. So we really, all the choices were just made and developed with Tom, the cinematographer. We just all worked together to kind of get the beats, get the motion. When I would want to build, 20-story buildings, Reggie would be like, let's keep it to the heart of the movie. And yet, I got to build that Kringles. I'm pretty happy with that set, so.